One of the things that we talked about in the lecture for week 4 was some sorting algorithms. And one of your problem sets this week deals with comparing and contrasting different sorting algorithms. So this tutorial is going to go through one of the algorithms we talked about in lecture and just talk through it in a short format so that it might help you. You can find these tutorials on the appropriate week for each tutorial, and this is going to be about binary search. Now, as we talked about in lecture, the idea for binary search is to break a big task up, a tedious task up, and divide it into smaller parts, and to repeat that process of dividing into smaller and smaller parts to achieve this goal of say, finding a target number in a vector. The vector could be, really big. And by vector, I use another word for array, which we've talked a lot about so far. Now, in order to leverage the power for binary search, we have to have an array that is sorted. So the numbers must be in order. Otherwise, we can't make assumptions about our divide and conquer strategy. And if we look at the algorithm, and we first look at it in pseudocode, and just let me remind you about the strategy of pseudocode. Really, for anything other than a really trivial problem that you are completely comfortable with solving very quickly without any reference, you should be writing pseudocode for every program you write. And this should end up being comments in your code. So for binary search, the pseudocode that we're talking about here is, we're going to repeat the entire scheme here until the array or the subarray is of size 0. All right. First step, calculate the middle point of the current part of the array we're working on. If the target is at the middle of that subarray, we stop. And the target is the number we're looking for. Otherwise, if the target's less than what's in the middle, we repeat, changing the endpoint just to the left of the middle. And if the target's greater than what's at the middle, we change the start point to be just to the right of the middle. So we're assuming it's sorted in order left to right. So maybe we start with an array like this. Up here we have the target, the start and the end, and the middle. And remember, this is the pseudocode we just went through. So the first thing we need to do is we need to worry about sorting this. And to do that, we are going to exploit the addresses of the little cubby holes up here that store our array of data. So here we have 15 spaces. It's an odd number, which is convenient. So we have an exact middle. And but the first thing we need to work on is the sorting. So for this particular algorithm, binary search, we must assume that the array is sorted, or we must use one of the sorting algorithms that we talked about in order to use this strategy for search. Okay, so the first thing is to do that, and note the addresses stay the same. When you sort something, it shuffles the address of the values. Now, if we go through our pseudocode here, what we're going to do is we're going to set some target. In this case, the target's 19. And we are going to have a start address. Now, 19 here is the value. Remember, we're looking for this value 19, and it's at address 9. We don't know that yet. That's the whole point of this operation. Our start is going to be 0, and our end is going to be 14. So the first go through, we're going to choose the whole array. We're going to find the middle point, which in these 15 values is the value 7, and the value at address 7 is 15. Well, according to our algorithm, If the target is greater than what's in the middle, we repeat, changing the start point to be just to the right of the middle. So we're going to start looking at this. So we start to ignore this entire part of the array and focus our efforts over here. Our target's still 19. However, now the start is the old middle plus 1, just to the right. The end is still 14, the total length of our array. And we also need to do something about the middle, because that's the old middle, but the new middle is 11. Okay, so out of these 5 values, the new middle and the value at that is 23. Well, now our target is less than what's at the middle, and so we're going to repeat changing the endpoint to be just to the left of the middle. Okay, so we've taken care of this bit of the array. Now we're just focused on this. All right, so we need to we've got our start, which doesn't change. We need to change our middle and our endpoint. And here we have the value of 19 at our endpoint. And that goes back to our pseudocode. If the target is at the middle, we stop. That's success. And it just took a few steps to do that. And, you know, that's binary search. That's as simple as it gets. And that's all I have to say about that.